Tim Bell and Gilbert Ottawa and Bill Falk came up inquiring about county, as far as solutions and county taking over those roads. Because basically, there was, yes, Phillips going, you're talking about now by, their shop is now over by,
What road they showed me was going past the Warnock entrance and then going down and then going north back out to the highway.
yeah.
And the bridge is real bad. He said that's the state's bridge. It's got Mr. Checkpoint.
Yeah, that one is better. That's a thing. That's a good run.
And he said that,
Run that's scheduled to be.
in the agreement, the city and the township and the county was involved in it when they did this. Because the city had part of it because when Warnock, that's city property, Warnock, but the way I thought.
Now, if I remember, we looked in to see what, I think it was an interlocal agreement, but we couldn't find, I remember Pat even looking into it, I don't think we could ever find an actual interlocal agreement ever signed. So that makes it a little more difficult.
This is on the housing issue. They didn't show me that one back road, but this is theirs. They give me the, when we went out there.
Oh, yeah. I'll find out the minutes as written.
Yep. Did you find any corrections in the minutes?
No, I haven't looked at it yet, but I guess they're okay.
I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything. See anything in the room? Okay.
These are all one signature.
So, But they also said they want, what I'm talking about was in front of their shop. You said they mentioned that too. Yeah.
Well, they said they've been digging up potholes and putting rock in it. And they just sent me that, and Steve was trying to do this. I think Steve was talking. He said that Matt said, squeaky wheel gets old.
Asking about Rollins, are you doing Rollins lately?
Do you have time to talk about 4 solid waste fee revisements?
Hold on just a second real quick before Mike's glancing over minutes and we'll, entertain a motion to accept minutes for Wednesday, May 1st is written.
I so moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're ready for it.
Okay, so I have 4 that, one is Bradkin, one is Bush Mines. They are requesting that their reductions be reflected in the second half taxes. And then, Mueller's Locker Room and Bauer Investments also provided information that indicated that they've reduced since the first half assessment they've been reducing. So they were wondering if that could be reflected in their second half taxes. So,
I don't know how we can change something in the middle of the street.
I don't know how we can either.
well,
What's the reason?
what's the reason? They've
Said they're reducing their trash.
We didn't have that in the provision, that's my only thinking is I think when we give them a half because of their large, we give them, they were allowed their fee cut in half, because we haven't done it for the residents. So I have a little problem, I think we're gonna be looking at next year, and it'll be reflected in next year. we start doing that, we're gonna, people are gonna want that to be revised every 6 months. That's gonna cause us a budgeting problem.
What have we done so far? Just refreshing, what have we done so far? Were those the only ones that you've done?
I did, a total of, I think it was 6 solid waste audits. Mar Hill, BC, Bush Mines, Bradkin, Golden Star, and, MGP. And then somewhat informal, solid waste audits for Mueller's, Bauer Investments, Atchison Auto Parts, and there was one more. I think one of the convenience store gas stations.
I guess the only question I have was there an error in computing something that prompted this, or? I mean-
No, this is after the original solid waste assessment and then the December 5th reductions where we passed a resolution to reduce the non-residential solid waste fee by half. 2 particular businesses, Bradkin and Bush Mines, have significantly reduced their trash, both in what they do week-to-week containers-wise, and then also what we are measuring at the transfer station. So, the understanding is that with the reduction comes reduced solid waste fees. Because,
That's the new year.
If I could, if the reduction is because the original figure was inaccurate, this is just an appeal from their original, then that'll take effect now when we go on second.
That's what I'm asking, yeah. That's what I just said.
If it's, and that's like if it's a miscalculation or something, or an overestimation.
Mhm.
But if it is, they're saying since the beginning of the year we've reduced and we're at a lower output now, that will become effective next tax for the 2013.
so the second half taxes are set to go.
I just don't think you got any choice. I mean, nobody else is getting that opportunity. And, yeah, I'd love to do it for everybody based on that, but you're gonna have a continuing nightmare adjusting everybody.
What's that? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I agree with Mike, this, next month they might, do half of what they did last month, so they're gonna want to readjust again. I say we stick half of the formula for this year, and next year I think the whole county needs to be addressed. Residents, businesses, and everything.
Well, hopefully we'll have, those figures are gonna reflect as to, as we go to approach, if we decide to use it again, then we have those figures to base our new assessment, on. And, I mean, the discussion that I gathered from the solid waste committee, and you guys were there too, was, I got the idea, the consensus is once we as a commissioners decide how much of the sales tax we're gonna commit to solid waste, then they will help determine based on the figures that you've got as to kind of a latitude of where we need to be. I mean, I think they're gonna give us I hope they don't have anything real specific, because I think we have some other factors that we have to look at, but I mean, they can sure give us guidelines as to, well, we don't think the solid waste fee should exceed X number of dollars based on the data that we have, and I'm very happy with that. And, so, I mean, did I read them wrong? I mean, that's what, they're kind of, I think, my gathering is that they know that we're gonna be having to use the solid waste fee, some kind of a fee, yet this year, but until they wanna be a part of kind of determining the latitude. Now, that was my reading, based on what we decide, the portion of the sales tax that we decide that we're going to designate to that.
And that's why I asked if there was a miscalculation, because I knew that Bradkin and Bush Mines, there was discussion early on. I don't remember, nothing about Bauer, and said there was a fourth, who's the fourth one?
Mueller's.
Mueller's.
They've reduced their, container size and pickups,
Okay.
so, and that's been effective for a number of months now. whether we want to revise on a quarterly or 6-month basis. I don't know if.
Now, what do we had something initially about every 6 months. Now, what is, I know it's not every 6 months, but do you remember what that was in the resolution?
The one thing, the thing you get into that I see is, say I have a building out there, and I plan on tearing it down, but I got on the tax rolls for this year. If I go tear it down, they're gonna take it off this year, no, they won't take it off this year, they'll take it off next year.
Okay, well, I will, let those people know then.
I mean, because we did, I think you did find an error, I mean, I think you did resolve an error with flush pies, so you made an adjustment there, plus you made the other adjustment of 50% reduction, so we made, I think, all the adjustments that I think are necessary yet this year, and next year, the figures that you tally will be reflecting of the fee that will relate to their business. I mean, we should have a lot more data, should be a whole lot more accurate, and, so.
Well, by the end of this month, we'll have an entire year of what we've been measuring at the transfer station, so. But depending on how we decide to revise it, one thing that the solid waste committee, and you were there, was one, that I've already asked Melanie for, is our 2012 actuals for joint communications and solid waste. She emailed me back this morning, and she said, as far as she knows, she didn't need to make any adjustments, so whatever we sent to her in terms of our actuals, she said, go ahead and understand.
Well, most of the 2 audit years that I found, there really wasn't that much major difference in what the actual versus what the audited figure. I mean, there was a few little adjustments, and I think you're gonna see that in any business when you have that many transactions and stuff, but I think it begins to get a little better figure as to, what it's costing. There was a discrepancy. I mean, it looked to me like when you go back and look, I've got a lot of years record, and I know Trey tried to explain to the committee that he thinks it costs closer to 1.1 million. And we've never had a year. I realize there's no capital outlay per se building it, but at the same token, sale of scrap iron, that, puts into a capital outlay fund, so there is some money in the capital outlay fund from that. But,
Well, I think he was adding back in the employee benefits, because it was always separate before.
yeah, but that should have been in these figures.
Even if you include the employee benefits for the solid waste, it's only about, I think it's 70,000, so it brings it to like 920 total, the solid,
Well, I thought it was being a little high, a little generous, but that was. Because
yeah, our total would be 918,000 given our budget. That's what we budgeted for this year. So, and so far, our contractual is going to be pretty well below that.
see, actually in our, in the 2012 budget, in the summary here, it has the employee benefits already listed in the actual cost.
Broken out by department, so we know 918 is what it
Last
should
year,
cost.
according to 2012 actual expenses, and this was the 13-month report, so it should have everything in it, ended up with $828,000. I think we had budgeted for 930, and that savings was to be applied And then if we put it into capital, but that's gonna be applied in case we need, have a shortfall because we made adjustments in those business solid waste fees. I mean, that was one of the first, I know one of the first things you brought up. And this year's budget, which included employee benefits, Matt has $845,000, I believe as well.
845 plus the 74,000 employee benefits for his department, which brings it to 918 total.
For 2013.
For 2013. That's what it should cost in total. Now, whatever our actuals for 2012 look like, one thing that when I was going over the minutes, for the last committee meeting, and I don't know if you noticed, that, there was, get us that number, it was said quite a few times. What they're really looking for is not only the actuals, but a very detailed line item budget, where every category is broken out into its individual line items, and
I appreciate that.
yeah, so if we get that for the solid waste, so we know what number we're trying to get revenues for, I mean, what do we have to say?
Well, we've all talked about that.
Yeah, and it's, that's what we're planning on doing for this budgetary season, coming up for the 2014 when we prepare it. So, I mean, it's gonna be something that we do from now on. It's just, the committee has requested that we do that, or have that ready by day one, so, I'll continue to work with Matt, see if we can get that budget as they requested, more detailed than what we have for our budgeting purposes, so.
I hope the committee realizes that if there is an excess amount of money, that the residents will be, getting the next discount, as well as if the businesses, if there is that much extra.
Well, we don't, as of right now, we have 4 months in the books for 2013 as far as what we've spent so far. By the time we get closer to July, we'll have 6 months, and we'll have a good estimate as to what it's gonna cost, for next year, with the new contract, with hopefully, recycling and things of that sort in place. We'll know what it's gonna cost to run the transfer station, both contractually and with personnel. And we'll have a better idea of what we need to raise in terms of revenue. And once we have that known, then we can start looking at different ways to solve it. If it's just, we walk away from the solid waste fee, we revise it. But that's gonna be step number one, and it has been, but we haven't quite, been able to get the 2012 actuals. We haven't quite gotten a budget presented to the committee that meets what they're looking for. They really wanna get down to brass tacks, and, it's not a bad thing. It's something that we're planning on doing anyway for all departments, but it's just a matter of getting it. So, that's where we're at. Any more questions?
Well, no, yeah, I know you got a lot going. I mean, have you started looking into the properties that have been missed, or what is your plan on that? Because I know we need to kind of, because as we move into budget year, that's gonna have a little reflection on our budget, plus the fact that, it was a fairness issue that had been brought up at the Solid Waste Committee too. I don't think there's as many, I expected to miss though. I mean, I've seen the appraisal list and stuff, so I expected, but, we do need to get that cleaned up the best we can this year. We'll probably have to work on it for, a couple of years, but,
Well, I do have, Roger working on a map, a GIS map that can plug in and see if we missed any properties by PIN numbers, account numbers. And then, another issue that's, brought up is the multi-residence properties. How do we assess those?
well, I think we need to relook at that too, and even, I think we give the, some of those Section 8 housing a pretty good break, and I think that we need to relook at those, because they're good trash generators, so, I don't think they need that.
Well, one proposal, something that I'm already looking into is basing off of a per room. So,
Well, I know that's what they brought up for a bedroom.
per bedroom, yeah. It's an idea, but we still have to ask the.
Do we bill those at commercial rates, so like we do with their dumpsters?
Most of them, yes.
So that's how we work those.
Mm.
Somebody for it, yes.
Some of them were, but duplexes don't have dumpsters, so they were assessed to $61. And so when you get into that category, do you assess it as a residential? Do you assess it as a commercial? Do you add a whole new method of assessment? That's gonna be the one that I think is gonna be the biggest problem, just because it doesn't fit neatly into any category, and you can make an argument for anything, so. But besides those two, we have a database with the appeals revised, hopefully we've taken off all the garages and vacant houses that we didn't account for, so moving forward, we should have a pretty cleaned up database for 2014.
I feel pretty comfortable, because it was pretty clear that people had, those were the highest screamers at first.
Oh, yeah.
The vacant lots, which is great, because we got that cleaned up, and so you won't have to deal with that
Yep.
next time. We're still gonna have a few people, probably, appeal or complain, but, on the others, but,
Yeah.
by the same token, as long as we are doing the best we can to get us one that are fairly assess the fee, in a fairly balanced manner, why, that's all we can ask. I mean, it's the perfect way, I said all along, to do it is if they take care of the trash.
Just supply run barrels for everyone.
Well,
EPA wouldn't mind. ADHE.
I don't want to go there.
But we will, hopefully, and I know we have a subcommittee meeting to discuss the solid waste, the various proposals by the 29th, so hopefully before next meeting, we'll have a lot more information available and developments with the recycling.
Well, hopefully you'll have some, I think there was also discussing, we'll have a little better idea of revenue.
Especially after this week.
Yeah, because now that the rebates have gone out, we should be in a lot better position to know how much shortfall there is.
There should be process now.
They should be. Like with anything, you're gonna have a few fall through the cracks, and that's what I'm waiting for this week is if somebody filed an appeal and just needs to make sure it went through, or, that last minute stuff. So, once we get that cleared up by the end of next week. So, I know Wes has us 2:30, so that's the update. Oh, yeah, okay.
How do you do it on, the revitalization, have you started anything on that?
We've found a lot of valuable information. One thing that we are going to do, or trying to, since it's an interlocal agreement, something that we're proposing to do is keep the program as is and just renew it as is so that we can get it through in the limited amount of time that we have left.
Well, have you talked to the city?
Yes.
They're not, because earlier discussing making minor modifications, certain areas that they're gonna maybe change, maybe they've changed their mind at this point.
Well, the two-tier proposal at this point is just that. It's a proposal with an idea of focusing, or as you said, minor changes to the program. But we only have about 6-7 months left. So, for the sake of it,
We got to get October to get everything filed.
right, so for the sake of expediency, we just want to keep it the same, and if any city or township has any kind of proposed changes, then they can come later and we can amend or add.
Well, have you got the record of taxi entities that participated the last time? Because I'm guessing that there won't be any major changes. I mean, if anything, there may be a few people more drop off.
Yeah, I can, I actually found some really interesting stuff, that I can get you a brief little report on what we're looking at in terms of valuation because of the rebate program in the next 10 years. It's pretty interesting stuff. Walmart coming off this year, so there's $6 million more in valuation.
Did they have a total 10-month or 10-year?
That, yep, this is the last year that they're on it, and
Well, like I said, right now, I know about
This was the first,
in 10 years or 7 years, we got a 7-year deal.
The third term, the most recent one, there still is a 10-year term for 500,000 plus investments for non-residential, but residential still is 7 years. So, that's where we're at. Hopefully we can just get it through and then everybody else can have time to, because we don't need to try and squeeze a proposal through right now.
Well, and I think Don Ball was wanting to help with me too. I mean, you know, you've got a good contact person, but when you need to go out and start talking, you know, those entities, let me know. I'm going to go with you to that. Run shotgun for you.
That works. Hopefully we can just get it through one time through.
Because the majority of tax entities really, I mean, per se, are something, I mean, townships and the third-class cities that I serve are in my territory. So we're still gonna have, 3 townships to it. 4 or 3. Mount Pleasant, Walnut.
Where else?
I can't use them because they turned off after our first sale, there's more on the wall. Part of it was gonna buy it, and looked at it and backed out, so I have it for sale.
Yeah, but we also will have something comes back active when it didn't. This is the second time back. Yeah.
So, other than that, that's it on mine.
Thank you.
You got something real quick? Is that okay, or you ask for time?
You sure there's no severe weather out there? That needs to be watched?
We're good for that. Go ahead. We're good today.
These are the different prices for the flags on however many you get, that's the price paid for. I based the last line on a total of 25 flags. Shipping is estimated. And I don't know, do we even want to spend $800 to $1,200 on flags? Do we need a flag? I guess that would be the first question. We want to spend it, no. We need a flag, yes. That answers that question. So now the question would be is, do we want to buy 12 $9 a piece more. So we're going by 25.
So that's $19.
Right.
From 49 to 68 would be $19.
Well, that's quite a bit.
So that's quite a bit. What have you been buying before?
We've had forever, I mean, the last time we bought 25 or something like that.
So you look at this as being a long-term,
This is 10 years flags probably, plus, kind of road and bridge, so that they would take 5 of them.
Where are they gonna put them? Because they don't put flags up anywhere that I've seen.
Yeah, it's got.
They have a flagpole.
Gosh, I didn't see where they have an American flag.
At the road bridge?
Right by the door.
They do.
Yeah.
But they ran out of the Kansas flag, so they just put the flag down. I mean, the county flag.
Are they gonna purchase them, or are they gonna, county purchase them and they'll take flags?
Well, it's all under general, so, I mean.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters to me.
yeah, at that, the dollar amounts you're talking, it doesn't really matter, so. We could take it to the. I think we need to go ahead and get, I mean, if you think that might last 10 years.
Well, I asked Tom to make sure, he says it's usually between 2,000 and 3,000 when it goes through, so.
If they're stored, I'd say if they're stored,
That's what I thought too. It just seemed like that's an awful lot of flags to burn through. I mean, I'm just questioning the quality. The quality are we buying like cheap flags? I guess
Here's the place that I'd be buying, which is different than the last one, we have all these flags.
I know they take a lot of use for 2 or 3 years.
I've tried all different kinds over the years, and yeah, they're just, they flap up there in that wind, tears them up pretty quick. Especially in the spring, when we get that spring wind.
Yeah, and when you're in Kansas, it could be blowing out of the north 1 minute, and the next minute it's out of the south, and
What you did?
One more time.
Yeah.
they're an American company.
And they normally charge an $80,
Setup fee.
but they're waiving that. For anything over, I think it's over 5. So if you have 5, you have to. If I go find an old line for a while, $19, I would think 25. Would be the way to go.
I would too.
My friends at Google say the U.S. government expects a nylon or cotton flag to last approximately 90 days, based on daily usage from sunrise to sunset.
That's right, that's what they expected to replace them. Nobody has them.
Yeah, I know. Usually get one of the shirts that's been out several years, it hasn't been good for a long time.
Memorial Hall, I always try to replace it just before the 4th of July, and then in the fall. And then sometimes in between, though, it gets bad.
Aren't there two down there? Isn't there like one up on top and then?
The one down below, the flagpole is, it caught the flag on top, so it's broke right now.
Oh,
They're talking about putting up new flagpoles right now, so we only got the one on top of the building. And until we find out whether they're going to do the front or not, or whatever, we'll spend that money and just throw it away.
I haven't heard any talk, or I haven't heard, I've seen several of those people in that committee, but I don't think they've even contacted nor helped our trustees for us on that.
No. Yeah. So, you want the 25?
Need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, there's no motion.
I'd 25 amount, from the company, at the amount of, estimated cost of $1,215. That's an estimated cost, because of what shipping is.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Also, have you got that, tax rate of $63,000?
It's in the packet.
It's in the
We
packet.
just talked about it, Jim.
Okay, well, I was gonna let you know that it should be here.
Sure.
Okay. And then the next thing, I really need to, executive session, I need to discuss some,
Land acquisition, which is
Ted.
75-4319. Fees.
so I'll see about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was here real quick.
You just got purchase order?
Is that all you got today?
I have two purchase, yeah, we'll do it 2:30. I have two purchase orders. I need you guys to sign one for the roof, for the MS barn. This one is only one coating, this one's two coating, this is the one you get your warranty with, you get my warranty with this. I think that's best, but I'm giving you options.
Who's doing it?
Peter.
You don't know what, is that product you're talking about?
Yep. Yes, when you get a.
It's the last American.
Yeah. Yep. And you get this in your warranty.
Yeah.
I would suggest this one. Yeah. Which is 30. Okay. One second. I would suggest this one, but.
What's the price?
37. Oh, total is 37.
No, I mean, difference.
Just look it up and so it's over.
The total.
The second code is 1250. The first code is that. So
2475.
And you get warranty after you put the second total.
Correct. But I want warranty. 10 years.
10 years.
That's no brainer.
If you, and if you had it come back out, the second code's not that much.
You're quick thinking about it.
Here is a monthly, not a sewer replacement.
They're like that, so they'll sign that.
And now this one back. And then here, it will say contracting pricing, say contract pricing, and we put it on this one.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna talk to Jefferson County this week. See what they think.
Okay. And that's all I have.
All right, you still got any 2,4-D after the appointment?
Well, and Z.
All right,
I think,
may not be able to get out the sprayer. No, I'm pretty antiquated, of course, we don't have much pasture anymore. I got, most places, I got the thistles under control, we do lots of spot spray rather than total spray. There's some places where year after year, you got to spray.
Yeah, I'm waiting on pricing for the piers in front of the air conditioner and gas meter for that building, so. So instead of setting a bunch of piers, they said we set a pier and run pipes, and then set another pier at the very end. So you don't have to worry about digging much. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to get thin.
They think they need a fence to protect it?
If you're out, you have like 7 or 8 posts, whereas you can,
Why do you need that?
because you're doing the gas meter and the air conditioner.
Oh, I guess I didn't see the gas meter.
By the way,
North, is it north of there?
Yeah, straight north of the corner of the building. Which we really don't want in there.
No. Because the only thing I was thinking is, you get somebody digs a hole, those those concrete things that I had a guy, Rick Sprang talked to me about, Jackson Farmers taking, they're actually a hog slats, they're about 6 foot long, they look like, you know, in a parking lot when you pull your wheels up again, that's what they look like, they're only, but they're about half the size in terms of thickness.
Mhm.
And I showed him one, and they're supposed to put something like that, so something don't roll down into there. And I just read something down there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can get you a heck of a deal. You can probably set 5 or 6 of them, and it's gonna cost you a little concrete and labor. See what your bid is, and then look that one up. These have to have some kind of, they'd have to have some kind of reinforcement, because they were slats before, so they can't be just concrete, because the concrete broke.
So it probably wouldn't be, yeah.
You know, pigs that go swimming, for a pig house, so.
Alright.
Anyway, I got about 35 of them to get rid of, so.
You look at it.
Just consider, I'm not telling you you have to do it, okay?
I'm not for it.
I'm giving you an option there, so.
There's drill holes, second the concrete line.
All they have to do is stick 2.5, 3 foot above.
How long are they?
They're 6 foot, so you put 3 foot in the
3 foot in the
ground.
ground, just can't put dirt around it every time. After we call, big fight.
Yeah, yeah, do that.
It's cheaper with senior village now?
It was either way.
Okay.
Remember, it was at the purchase time, because you're not getting the $4,500 in,
Oh, yeah.
in buyback from there and the county phones and so on. But in the long run, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
In the long run, it wouldn't be cheaper with.
With, correct.
That's what I was thinking, that's it.
So, sure. And it never changed. It'd be really good. So that's just what the state contract pricing is. You can compare that with what the other one I gave you, and I'll show you the difference you're paying on the state contract. Good.
Are we getting close to moving Kyle in?
Downstairs. We're working on it. Yeah. Is that enough?
Okay, and so then before, what was the difference?
Did you have a sheet with you? I didn't bring the other sheet, I gave you the other day.
Oh, yeah, that's what you're saying.
So this sheet is what your state contract pricing is, and this is what, they're discounting to.
Interesting. Good signal.
Yeah.
But then,
Now granted, this sheet doesn't have the buyback on it,
yeah,
but that's potatoes compared to that dollar amount.
the first one didn't get used, so.
Correct, this one doesn't, neither of them,
Yeah.
this one, this is the kind of just one, $2 per month. Information about it. Okay.
I'll be right down.
Did you have any more questions before I go? You can call me, you got my number.
Nope.
Thanks.
Thank you. Joe, we got, Chris Flores in here, I think we're gonna go ahead and have her, and then we'll do a particular, she's got her time. Good to see you again.
You too. My name is Francis Williams, and I'm here to represent my son, Ed Kramer. Yeah, he lives out on Brooks Road where they're trying to do the chip and seal. And he wants you guys to know, he's very against it. Bill Thornton, who is another neighbor, he's out of town also working, but he's very against it too. So I just wanted to put our opposition into it. People that are for it, they have other options. They can put down that sealing and stuff to stop the dust. I think probably if they thought about it, Ed gets more dust right where he is than anybody on that road. But it's country living. You can't have all of the amenities of living in town if you live in the country. I mean, if the county was gonna pay for it, he probably would be for it, you know, but it's, as far as I know, nobody else in the county's had to pay to have their road chipped and sealed.
So what part of him being against it, you're talking about if there's a special assessment?
Well,
Or,
from what I understand, they're trying to get all of the people on that 4/10 of a mile, or whatever it is, to pay for it. And then the county would have to maintain it, and he doesn't wanna pay for having it chipped and sealed.
okay. That's been mentioned, as a possibility, I don't think it was necessarily said that's what was gonna happen. I mean, that was just one of the 2 or 3 options. Mhm.
Yeah, but, I mean, I just barely heard about it, but I didn't want it to go through and him not know what was going on, you know.
Okay.
I'm sure you probably have to notify all landowners before you could just kind of like step through, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I'll speaking about Pat Anderson here, but, as far as you're talking about, they were talking about like, that'd be like essentially setting up like a benefit district, is what was initially talked about.
What, I'm sorry?
It's called a benefits district. Yeah, special benefits district, so basically that neighborhood collectively, I believe it's a majority percentage of those have to sign off in the special benefits district, if I'm right, Pat?
Yes.
And then anybody else that opposed it would have to go along with it?
Here in the district, probably.
Well, there would have to be a hearing, and the commission would have to consider it. So, is this Edward Kramer?
Yes.
Is that right?
Uh,
Well, it would be the commission would have some discretion on whether or not to adopt or approve the benefit district. It is not simply that if there's a petition filed, it automatically happens. But we've not seen a petition yet.
They tried to do this about 2 years ago, maybe 3, I'm not sure. But, it didn't go through then either. That's basically what I needed, was to let you guys know that we opposed it.
If it's set up as a special benefit district.
Yeah, because why, I mean, am I wrong, or are there other places in the county that people have paid for their own chip and seal?
That I could,
I don't know, there have been some that I know where the
What
people
was-
that paid the county to do
Which is
That's
political,
Uh-huh.
that's controlled, right?
That's different, you know, that's their other option with this.
But the county's out, we're out of that business too.
Yeah, but there's other people that
That do it,
do
that's what I'm
it,
saying.
yeah, they have that option, yeah.
They have the option.
Uh-huh.
what does Timber Hills have? No, I mean, like, it's paid, but how is it set up with them, are they special benefits district? September Hills,
I don't know.
north of Australia.
I don't know whether that's if they have a subdivision or homeowners association, is that out?
But basically, that's what we wanted to let you guys know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Thompson's here too.
Oh.
I don't know if you wanted to talk, or if you had a question for her or not.
I wasn't aware that you were going to be here. In fact, I've been sitting waiting for the pilot car to come along.
Oh, yes.
I take it you have too. Well, you are.
It's a pretty good way
Yeah,
too.
yeah. 15 on a good day. Yeah. Appreciate the comments. I got in, I guess, on the last half of the comments. And the original proposal a few years ago was with the cooperation of the county, where they were going to pay for part of it, and the homeowners would pay for the balance. I forget now, maybe Mr. Henderson remembers. We were going to pay for the labor, and they were going to pay for the chip and seal, or was it the other way around?
Well,
few new houses in that area and some more landowners. There are 7 of the 10 in the group that are ready to divide the cost of the project among themselves. And again, with respect to others who don't want to participate, they're not being counted in the plan that I proposed the last time I was here. They're not expected to pay for it.
Well, I didn't understand exactly your plan. What is your plan? Are you going to put it in that we maintain it?
No, the proposal at the last meeting, and the last time I was here, was that we're asking the county to come back to that same informal agreement, or proposal, that we had where we would pay for the chip and seal, and then county would provide the labor to put it down.
I do have another question. Ed has livestock at my house, he has livestock at his house, that he goes back and forth with his bobcat. Now, is that gonna stop him from using that road with his bobcat?
Well, I don't think we talked about any restrictions on vehicles with that. I mean, I think it would probably adhere to the same, Pat, you might correct me if I'm wrong, it might adhere to the same rules as far as, commercial traffic, as most do in the county, but I think outside of that, I don't think there's restrictions.
Even if you had tracks on it.
It does have tracks on it.
I think they're restricted to use it.
Well, yeah, what kind of project are they? They're steel
Rubber
tracks.
Just for information to the council, that road has gotten wider every time it gets plowed or cleared off. It started out 3 or 4 years ago as about a 11 or 12 foot wide road, and now it's up to about 25. That scraper comes down and just clears out another inch or 2.
Is it standard 20 foot?
Most of
40?
the right of ways are what, they're 44.
40 foot, yeah.
That's
Oh.
the right of ways, so I mean, you
Right.
figure at least a 20-foot road.
It's like 20 foot to the center, so.
And it's been moving closer to that. Again, the proposal last time I was here was fairly simple and straightforward, that there are 7 of the neighbors that are ready to divide the cost of the chip and seal among ourselves and get it done. A few of us had the sealing put on, the dust control put on last year, and it worked. Now, interestingly, maybe you're aware of this, sir, in the last couple of weeks, there have been a lot of heavy trucks, tanker trucks that have been going back and forth on that road. And one of the neighbors, on one particular day, counted about 10 to 15 minutes between these heavy tanker trucks coming one way or the other.
They're doing that so they don't have to stop at the highway, preserve.
No, this is before.
But how do you stop that though? I mean, you're still gonna have that.
I'm not asking to stop it, I'm just identifying that that road is being used a lot now. And a lot of it's moving along really fast.
It will raise taxes though if you're on a paved road on it.
Property taxes?
No, that doesn't affect property tax.
It doesn't.
It will affect the evaluation of the house, which we're ready to go for.
I guess my question is, if you don't enjoy the country, why did you move to the country? I've lived out there for 50 years where I'm at, and I've never once appeared before these guys to get them to do anything for the dust. What is it gonna be next, you know?
If I may raise an answer to that question, and with respect, if there was concern about the neighbors, you had the option of buying those lots.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
had
and
the
you didn't.
option if
And
I
you
had an
didn't.
extra $100,000.
And you didn't.
I didn't, no.
So, being very direct, you didn't take the option.
No, I didn't, but I still can oppose what's being done in the neighborhood.
And others of the neighbors can propose what is to our benefit.
Absolutely.
And interestingly, the 7 neighbors that are interested in pushing this and funding it will be helping the neighbors that chose not to participate.
And under your proposal, then, once that project's completed, then it becomes the maintenance responsibility of the county, is that correct?
I don't know how that would work, but that's something that you folks would, know from the precedent that's been set elsewhere.
Well, we're listening to the proposal, that's what I'm waiting to hear. I mean, you're proposing how we put it in, but we got, I just assume that we then have to, maintain it after that.
Either the county or Mount Pleasant Township.
Is that township road?
It's a township road currently, I don't know how the benefits district would change the status or qualification of that.
I'm sorry?
It's the county roads and bridges.
Yes, it is, all the way through. The only township, and I think the road that runs North Road Road's behind it, I think the township has gotten the county to maintain that one even.
That would be my major concern. I have a couple. Number one is, yeah, you guys were paid to have it put in, but then we have to maintain it forever. And then what if everybody that lives there wants a 500 strip, and they pay whatever it costs them to maintain it? That's where I have a problem with it, is the maintenance of this. And how many other cases are we gonna have that bans, we set this as a precedent that they're all in one?
If you maintain that, doesn't that come out of everybody's tax money then? It becomes everybody's responsibility to maintain that little bit of road, doesn't it?
Depends on how it's done.
Yes.
The lady's talking about maintaining a reasonably well-surfaced road as compared to what's currently being done on maintaining a dirt road. There's a lot more maintenance, whether it's the snow maintenance or the summer maintenance, there's a lot more maintenance put into it right now as a dirt road than there will be as a paved road. Think about that. I'm sure you can appreciate that, and that's, but that's not the end.
You'd save the rock on 4/10 of a mile, but that patrol's gotta go down that road anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know that I agree with that, because
Well,
you get a lot of heavy traffic, you're gonna have the big holes that show up, and like I say, Ed's gotta get from point A to point B to feed his livestock, and I'm sure they're not gonna like it.
Well, another question too, is with our heavier equipment, whether it be farm equipment or these other trucks and stuff, we're finding out that, some of the original chip and seal roads, if you're gonna do it right, you're gonna have to go dig down to a good base, so they're maintained. Brown County's running the same, they've had blacktop roads on most of their county roads for years, but it's catching up with them because of the big equipment. Eventually, they're gonna have to go in and redo some of the roads to get a better base, otherwise they're, instead of a 4 or 5 year rotation, they're gonna do it for 2 years and maintain it. So I think what you might be looking at is a lot more cost than what you might think if we go in and do it, if we would go do it right. I have no problem with the township road, and interfering with the township asks us to do it.
Randy said it was county.
That's
Yeah,
county,
it's county.
where they're talking about it's county.
How far does it go?
Well, it goes over St. Charles Road, where it picks up at the page road.
That's as far as we had looked at the other day, when we did a tour, we turned around right after that, the bridge.
Oh, yeah, well, if you look up with St. Pat's Road, that's the stuff.
I had received a complaint from a landowner, I shouldn't say a complaint, an inquiry really from a landowner. Sandy Hankey, who owns some property out by Muskota, and asking about, or really just telling me that there was a tower that's being built there. We discussed it here last week. Properties, looks like it's just south of the city of Portland, in Ashland County. She had indicated that she had talked with a Brad Hunsberger with Horvath Company in South Bend, Indiana, and that he had explained to her that they had published a notice that they were going to do, asking for public comment that they had published this notice, I believe, in December of 12. And then also that she had said that he had, getting into she said, he said, literally, she said that he said that there had been a letter of approval from the county. And so that's what I talked with him about. There's no such thing as a letter of approval. It looks like, from what he forwarded to me, he sent a email to the clerk on June 25th asking whether or not there was, whether there was zoning or permitting. That was for, I think I've got it backwards. That was the most recent. He had sent an inquiry back in June. That was September 2011, inquiring about it. Pauline had written back that we didn't have zoning or building permits, which was completely appropriate, correct answer, and I won't deny it if she says we talked about it before we sent it, because I know we talked about a couple of those inquiries that have come in about zoning, so.
And that's, I talked to in respect for her sake, and that's basically what he told me. I mean, he essentially told me that it was just an inquiry about how to put the notification in, whether there was zoning or anything, but,
Well, and they call it a permit letter, and so that kind of sounds like it's permission, and it's really just asking whether or not a permit is necessary, so.
well, I think what spurred that too was apparently she talked to a lady at the FCC. And outside she said being kind of rude and nasty, she said there's two things. I mean, they had to file something, an intention to build, plus they had to have approval. Well, I think she read that as we had to sign off on it. And the approval, and what I did is, in the notification, there is a website, and I tried to access the application form to see whether there truly was that requirement that there had to be permission from the county. Well, you have to be registered with the FCC in order to get into the website to get the permit, or the application form. So I told her that I visited with her Saturday night at a friend's wedding, and I said, if you can get that lady, or I said, give me her name, I will call her and see if she'll send me that application so we can see, because that's the whole key. If there's nothing there, we have nothing. I mean, if it clearly says on there that the county has to sign off on it, then yeah, maybe you've got some ground. But otherwise, I think we're done. So.
I don't see where we're not being zoned, though, we can have to sign off on anything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You're
So,
right.
I don't think,
Right, I'm saying, yeah, I'm not trying to defend the point and stuff. It's only 2 miles from me, and this guy tried to assure me that most of the Wi-Fi is going to go straight up because they're shooting at planes. Now, that doesn't mean that some company may not.
That can't be true. They gotta be shooting Verizon to Verizon. I mean, it's gonna be shooting up as well, but they've gotta go Verizon to Verizon to get airplane coverage.
Well, sometime, yeah, there'll be an angle and stuff, but what I think he's saying is it's not shooting down maybe to another town. But it does have the capability of cell phone tower too, is what I get. And I said, do you have AT&T signed up yet? I said, because I have terrible coverage out there. He said, no, but we're open for business. I said, well, maybe I'll get better cell service, so I don't, that's, you and I are on the same page on that. She tried to call me right here right before the meeting started, so I'm assuming that she's got a name for me to call, so I'll probably call her.
I will follow up with her. I have not talked with her since I talked with The next thing that I have is, about fire district. I had made a mistake and was thinking about it late last week. We don't have to publish because the city of Effingham did the publication, because I was caught up in thinking about the Walnut Fire District, where we have landowners that are petitioning, and we have a statute that has a different procedure when the city is petitioning for inclusion within the district. And so, the resolution that we adopted, I did not have published, because it's a waste when you don't need it.
Well, we still got it on the 22nd, because I went to their meeting and they're expected, I think Kirk's wanting to come down and anybody else. I think we'll just leave it on the agenda for the 22nd, okay, to vote on it, because they said that's, if we don't hit any other obstacles, that gives them enough time to, they need to know by the 1st of July.
Okay. Why don't I give you a proposed resolution, you can read it between now and then, and if somebody else want to make it. Actually, if you go on the agenda for that day.
Sure. Well, would this be something that we want to send them a copy to?
Sure.
Or not required to, but.
Sure, I can send it to Wes, and which might be the easiest way to get it to them.
Yeah, just tell him he wants to make sure that the volunteer fire district gets a copy and the city gets a copy. That's the main thing that we're after.
Roger Denton had prepared some maps, and this is, there were several, because we worked on getting one legal description. That's probably the best map that shows the townships, where they are, and this one in theory doesn't have the section numbers. I believe it does have the section numbers. It does have the section numbers, but they're too small for me to read.
I'm sure that's what we're headed towards, would be my assumption. Because I know, like, we even had that come up with rescue squads and first responders and migration, consolidation of districts as you run. Your volunteers.
That's interesting, that benefit district, that was, is that comparable to fire district, is that what that is?
Yeah, you're supposed to send us a letter. One thing we gotta be careful about is, we do have a lot of other
Yeah.
roads that are paved, and if we start saying taxing, I mean, are we gonna start taxing everybody that lives on a paved road? I think we'd open up that's the only thing we gotta get pretty careful.
I think they are now. If you live on Blacktop, you're accessible.
No, it's
No?
not the same as anybody.
Only if there's
Right.
benefit districts. I don't know of any benefit districts.
The only thing you'd be assessed, if there happened to be anything in the appraiser's leeway where he could say because you're next to a hard surface road that you may add another $1,000, you know. There is that, I don't know how they do that, so. I mean, it would make sense, you know. that there'd be no added value, so I mean, that's, whether they do or not, I mean, I think that's one of the discretions that they have, so.
I know sales approach does, but I don't know if cost approach does. Because county appraisers work on cost approach, and, individual private appraisers work on sales. So I know sales that typically come into play, as far as neighborhood, streets, et cetera, I know that all gets pulled in. But I don't know cost approach, I don't think, because cost approach is what Jim operates off of, that's what we strictly look at what's the structure, basically cost, use, et cetera.
I think about the maintenance and how many more people are gonna want it. And I realize that those people, they want to pay for it, that's showing something, but, well, I think we're opening up a can of worms.
Isn't that Northeast Kansas, or that booklet that we got, didn't it show in there?
Well, these are things, Bill, these would be things, we go to these conferences, don't be afraid to ask other people. Have you ever had a situation like that, to see how they handle this? Because I do see a potential of opening new can of worms. I think it's a great idea. There probably deserve that many houses in that short period, but is the area out there not that they will want?
They're gonna want it now.
Yeah.
They're gonna want theirs resurfaced. So they're gonna meet with, I suggest they meet with Matt and the township and then resolve, try to resolve, they want it knocked out. Cause they said they've been ripping out, packing rocks in it, and they just need to run it, fix it up. And then when the rock got dumped out there, I think that's what set it on fire.
There's probably less out there, and probably less chance of big equipment getting on it than there would be that little, even that little stress. That's the thing that concerns me. If you're gonna do it, you do it right. I mean, some of these chip and seal roads we've got, we're gonna face some, a little more maintenance if we don't do it done right. You said you took Chris around, was saying we need to bring the partnership that meeting on Monday or something, that's, if you get around, that's all we need.
Yeah, the only ones we didn't get to were Road and Bridge, Peggy was already gone, and, Wes, but I think Wes is not on board.
I have one other thing, and it's just information. While I was talking to Hams, I got a hold of the guy about the new quarterly outcomes. And right now, they were still waiting on a permit from KDHE, but they're shooting for late fall. And I said, well, so we're just curious, because I said, we went out there and looked at things over, and I said, your outlet is going to be a concern. I said, we have to figure that out between us and the township. And I said, because my understanding, you guys are going to fix the road, so we need to let you know which route you're going to need. They said that's probably a pretty good idea that we get started. So he's going to contact Mike Winscott, the township, and see what's convenient for them in the next couple of weeks, try to set appointments. They'll call Paul Lee, and he'll come out and we'll begin discussions on that. So that part's done, because they're going to have the roads ready, stuff, probably this summer. So, just for your information, so. I didn't ask him about the bald eagle or spotted, whatever it was. He just said he was waiting on I think it's the permit for the clean water pond that they have to build. I believe that's what he said, they're really waiting on. And,
I was just looking up because there was something I know that it talked about the asphalt and road costs. I was just looking to see because I know we were talking about Brown County quite a bit. Let's see if
we need you to get another copy of that and just start, I'd like to, nothing else, copy those pages, put it on the book together, so each of us got a copy, but that's interesting.
So
You gotta try to get your copy down there, please.
Right, well, I'm saying, but we could copy those.
So like in us, so it says there in 2011, we had 27 miles chip and sealed. Bragg County
Yeah.
entered in 2011 was 27 miles. That's according to this, it says that's all we maintained was 27.
But I thought Matt said that he tries to do 40 miles a year.
Yeah, that might be redoing what we've already had. Not add 40 new miles, that's just.
Right, but you say we just maintain how much?
It says 27 miles in 2011. This is 2011 numbers. So like comparison, Brown County did 105. Let's see here.
Now, maybe that's what he did, and what you're saying is, maybe that's what Matt reported, how many miles we actually
Did.
resurfaced or whatever. Because, there was a couple of years there before I came on, I know Matt was kind of lamenting because to cut his budget, he could only do 30 miles.
I don't think anybody's cut his budget on
Well,
doing that,
He just said,
at least just since I've been on.
well, I don't know, that's just what he said.
That capital improvement, he's wanted like $400,000 more than what we have at that.
But the other was, he said, I think the year after I come on that budget, he said it was cut enough that he could only do 30 miles.
So like comparison, asphalt concrete road, 901,000 in Atchison versus 1.5 in Brown. But they're, okay, so now gravel, earth, road maintenance. According to this, it shows Brown County only had about $13,000, and we had like over $930,000.
They have very little gravel road. They're mostly all blacktop. They have a bigger township system, I think, you'll find.
That's easily justifying the cost right there.
Oh, yeah. But Warren also told me that because this big farm equipment stuff, he said they're deteriorating faster. Because they don't have that good base and stuff underneath them. They're not holding up. So that means their costs, if you have to go back in and tear up and redo, you're probably gonna add 3 to 4 times the cost it would be just to chip and seal.
So you have to at some point do actual mill and overlay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I said something to Matt, on that Edwards Road out there, because that does need to be, I said, rather than spend the chip and seal money this year, put something away, maybe we need to look at a 2 or 3 year time frame and start looking at some of these roads that has that heavy traffic on it. And make sure they get done right. You can get to go in and dig them out, put new phase in, widen them out. And that road is horrible. That road, you can't believe that much is travel. Between the school buses, people they cut through there to go to Topeka. If you go down, straight down, go Valley Falls that way, and they cut through there.
Is Edwards Road the one that goes south out of Effingham?
West side of Effingham, it's west side of Effingham,
Right.
goes south.
It goes- yeah.
To the 4 mile corner away, so like 4 mile corner.
Call it somewhere.
286 is getting kind of in that same ballpark.
You know, 73 highway.
Yeah.
I had a woman call me, Lisa Hill. She was complaining about it, and hadn't been nothing done to it since, she said.
The only thing about that, there's probably a pretty good base there, it's a matter of, it wouldn't hurt me, I let people complain it needs to be, and it is heavy traffic road, I mean, it's,
So we got.
but most, I mean, some people cut off, instead of getting on 73, they still go on through 70, so there's quite a stretch in there, that probably, but generally speaking, the farm trucks all turn, I mean, they're big, that road, I don't think gets as much heavy traffic as the from Lancaster to Effingham.
Most of the trucks, my trucks would come up to the Walmart, cut down their semis. Yeah, I had a call from her, and then I told you that Thomas Steve Marlett, they're gonna want that out there. But that's the township. He said township, city, and county's involved in that.
Well, technically nobody is, I don't think
He
he's.
said he had something that he was gonna look it up, where the city agreed to bend that road going more out city property. And if the
shape.
It's probably, we're talking a mile and a half, probably.
See what number that is.
Yes, the road out of Warnock.
So, yeah, you're,
Yeah, it goes
you're,
east
now
and
you're,
west.
you're not talking about the development area, you're talking about.
I'm talking about down there. And then somebody dumped some rock out there, and I think that's what made them mad. And then they said, they gave me a copy of the agreement out there. It's one on top too,
Which one?
that one out there too, that they're, housing, because there's only 2 houses out there.
That township or county road.
Supposedly that's county road.
The agreement was with the city, or I mean with the county?
We're talking about two different things. Steve Thompson's agreement out there, if there's Somerville or Summercrest, whatever, they built the road, they paid that with chip and seal, and the county was gonna maintain it. Okay? And then that one out by Warnock Lake, he said that was a joint effort between the township, the city, and the county.
You know, I think that was the city and the township, the county may have offered support, but I've been told that, talk to the township people, and they said that was the city worked that out, that was, the township, or the county may end up furnishing the labor for, you know, but I think the actual other cost, I'm pretty sure Tim Bill said something about that. He's the Shannon Township trustee.
Mhm. Yeah, they inquired about us taking over that segment, I remember that, that was about
Probably when you first come on.
yeah, it was in that first year, I mean, like 2011, I know they were up here, there's 3 of them, they were up here inquiring, because we couldn't find the other interlocal agreements, that's what the deal was, like, nobody could seem to find it.
Right.
So that made us wonder if it was verbal, but not,
Yeah.
like, nobody actually said, or written, I guess it's such.
I also heard, which is definitely a big deal, that our employees don't like the 410s with the rain days and the split.
Yeah, I heard that too, I've heard a lot about that.
Well,
I said it was them guys, it was them guys.
I mean, you know, he has flexibility. I mean, it's not as if we made him demand, we just asked to consider something like that. To me, it makes business sense.
When you say if you have 2 or 3 rain days and they get a day off, that's costing a lot of money for them just to stand there and not doing nothing. And this one guy said, oh, we work, we can't get it, yeah, we're right. We can blame them on that.
Huh?
Yeah. After you show up, I'll sue you.
Well, how much can you do with rains, your working roads?
Good question.
And I really, I told you, I don't envy his position because it's kind of hard, but, you know, when you're working with public's money, you need to try to manage it somewhat. Be a little bit flexible.
I really think if there were a private employer that were doing it, they would do the same thing. They would say, you know.
Well, they'd have split shifts. They'd have split shifts and they would not have as many people.
I think the thing.
True, yeah, they would do that too.
Because they would be analyzing what seasons that they need the most, and they would have, even if they had to lay people off.
I think probably the thing that bothers me the most about this, of course, I'm only hearing one side of the story, is that Matt kind of sided with them and said it's out of my hands, instead of trying to explain why we did it, that he just kind of threw us under the bus, so to speak.
I didn't say that any of us mandated. Did we mandate it? We suggested.
We suggested.
We didn't mandate that he had to, we just suggested he looked at something like that, so.
Yeah, we didn't push them in, we can, if we want to.
We can, but I think give them a
Right.
chance, you give your department head a chance to show that they're managing. You know, otherwise there's, you go out and farm, you go, you know, hey, you gotta figure out where's your priorities. You gotta make,
Yeah, I heard farming and hauling cattle and babysitting.
they'll all be off, so they expect, if it rains, they expect to be off.
No, what he was saying is, he don't know why part of them have to be there Monday. You know, we talk about splitting, so.
Well, that's what I've asked, because I've had a lot of people say, why aren't they bringing stuff on Fridays instead of, you know, like, still run the tens, but have like 2 or 3 people
I think
rotating.
Matt had told us that he usually has enough help, that he's usually got 2 guys grading every day of the 4 days. And, you know, whether that's enough to get it all done, I don't know. So, it's not. You know, until you really, if he was a new person and just went in there, so you observed, you know, and stuff, you'd know more what actually, you know, goes on. We don't have an independent person working in there to explain.
Maybe we just manage expectations better, so if we have, you know, it gets back to, you know, sitting down with your, you know, your department heads, et cetera, and having like a plan, so we expect you to do this, we expect you to chip and seal or asphalt 40 miles a road, we expect you to have, run your employee, you know, I think we probably manage those expectations better, we could probably do that in the budget season, we probably.
I'd say like if he said, okay, I'm gonna chip and seal 40 miles, and he figures in all his supplies, and he does 20, he's gonna have excess of money.
Yeah, but generally speaking, he will, if the weather's conducive, he'll get that done. And because he claims that, I mean, I hear him, I don't know how many miles we got exactly, but he claims that if you don't do about 20 miles, you that's the rotation, or to get everything chip and sealed, so.
Well, I don't remember last year, but it was 2 or 3 years ago, he just said, this is what I had budgeted, and I bought this much oil, and we just used it, you know, we just used it until we ran out. Or this much asphalt, and we just used it until we ran out, so. I don't think he's been saving back a bunch, although, for him, he could.
Well, I think that's why it's, you know, you gotta get a little incentive in there, if they save money, then, yeah, you could put some of that towards, if you need something new, you know, stuff, just like, you know, he did say, because we had a mild winter, say $122,000, so that's rewarded for that, you know, but don't, you know, make sure they get all the basics covered too, that you're not cutting corners just for that, so.
It would be nice to see a bridge and culvert replacement for, I haven't seen anything from them, I've asked them that several times to see what's our.
I think that's just a goal that we just need to, I think what we're learning on bridges and tubes, now we need to get the plan.
Well, he can replace those culverts without doing some of the stuff that we're talking, I mean, we got a lot of existing culverts that are in dire need of being just flat out replaced.
Well, yeah, but there's some bridges out there too, I think we need to be looking at what are some of the bridges that we can, without having to go through a special permitting or whatever, to go ahead and get that done, you know, to get some of that on the plan. I really think they're a lot more, they're gonna be a lot more easier to work with than what we went through with this other deal and stuff, so. I mean, that guy I talked to, they're not gonna come out here and check you out. I mean, if you're within 10, 15 feet of a major opening, he pretty much just grinned when he said, you guys use your best judgment. But a lot of those bridges are built with the figuring that had to handle so much water before we had conservation. And with all the conservation that's been put in place, I mean, it's just like that deal up there. You know, soil conservation said a 6.5 foot tube would handle, and they built this watershed dam that handles 200 and some acres of that, 400 acres and stuff. So I mean, that's what Brownfield works off of most of the time. They work off the soil conservation recommendations when they replace bridges. Otherwise, yeah, that's all I have.
valve extension out?
Not here.
Huh?
No, you just have to dial
The extension?
8220 or 6291. Are you doing long distance?
No, I was trying to get the Sheila's extension.
You're gonna have to call 5332.
Just hit 5332.
You go down
Down
73.
37533.
You go down 73, don't you?
I don't, they had a long line of people paying taxes, so
Bruce Lowe.
you might have to wait till next
He
week.
and Don,
or they
Bruce,
can
I
do
talked
it.
to them.
Yeah, I forgot to,
They said something about this.
she said they had a long line of people.
Okay.
It is taxed, I
Yep.
kinda forgot about that, so.
Yeah, forget it, it's not that big deal, so we'll wait till we come back, wait till they get back.
Next week.
He just said there's two south of Pineview, be on Ottawa Road, that needs some attention. I didn't know whether you swing by
Yeah.
there, do you?
I've driven it. Yeah, it's, I think it's the one south of my brother's house. Down next to him.
So your brother's, what's your brother's name?
Dan.
Dan, okay, that's, yeah, I've seen that name.
I think it's between there and Woods, I think live up there, and I think Graham's on the opposite side of the road.
He just said it was south of Pineview.
Yeah, there's a few over there.
So it's between, do that construction, that intersection south. I mean,
Yeah.
between there and Wood Farm.
Yeah, yep.
Just to see what you said, whether there's a hole in the road, or.
It's like one of like, I mean, you see where it like just
Black
starts.
top?
Yeah, that's all.
Oh.
But it's like all chipping away. Heck, I could probably show you about a dozen more of those, if you wanna see. Those are the ones that concern me. I've said stuff to them, but I mean, it's like, those are the ones that I worry about, somebody going through.
Yeah.
Liability wise.
We need a new tube and have it resurfacing, or what is that?
You'd have to recover, you'd have to
Yeah.
recover.
That needs a new tube.
To me, you'd have to,
That's what I asked Matt, he's like, well, they'll need new tubes, so I'm like, well, we're gonna replace them? I don't get an answer.
I would think a big tube there, wouldn't they?
I think that one's up there, no bigger than what we've been replacing.
I'll go back down that way.
well, just to see, I just say if you had time.
Wouldn't be any bigger than the one that's down there, we're talking about Rollins, it wouldn't be any bigger than that big one we replaced last year. That ain't rougher, you driven down that way a while? That's pretty rough.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
So you got tags?
We'll take this, so you'll have to turn your.
Yeah, do you have that second one?
No, he,
Matt came in and took it.
Oh,
He went-
okay. Yeah, down?
He went to Wichita for this meeting,
yeah, he's too much to talk to.
Okay.
so you'll have to fight over that one, okay?
Good, thank you, we'll just get reimbursed.
Unless the sheriff has one,
What is,
somebody said they have some.
Oh, I can check it down, I'll check it down on the way out.
Or maybe you can catch him on his way back, I think he's coming back Wednesday.
I have a sales tax exempt form, we check in.
Okay.
I'll have it filed, so I'll tell you you're coming the next day. So
Yeah, probably another Wednesday, maybe afternoon early, on the list.
I got it all signed, we'll present it to them, so.
Are we not meeting on Wednesday then?
Correct.
No.
We're down at KCCA, Highway down.
Sure. I really recommend the Scotch and Surly.
What?
The Scotch and Surly.
Where's it at?
Right across the
Well, I
street from
recommend
French
it.
University in Tech.
Oh, you meant the location?
No, for.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was,
That is a good place, thank you.
Well, we'll be pretty well confined, I think about every meal, except the first day.
Are you at the airport building?
Yeah, it's called the Doubletree. You guys had your meeting there too? You had-
Ours is in Manhattan.
Oh, yours, yeah, you're better than that, Jen.
We're at the hot
Yours, that
building.
that's a new, that is
Building.
nice. That's the one, we just had our dairy convention there, it's nice. $189 a night, weekend stay.
What's the price of that?
further business, entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, you did?
Second.
Oh, all in favor, signify by saying aye.